from the Soyuz vehicle. They'll be placed in reclining chairs next to the capsule for a few minutes of readaptation to gravity. For Van der Heij and Dubroff, the first time they will have felt the pull of gravity against their bodies in almost a full year since they launched on the Soyuz MS-18 spacecraft in April of 2021. They'll be taken into a nearby inflatable medical tent that will be erected by support personnel from RSC Energia. They'll get out of their Sokol launch and entry suits, climb into flight suits, and board helicopters for a 2-hour flight back to Karaganda, where the crew will split up, Van der Heij boarding a NASA jet heading back home to Houston, Dubroff and Shkaplerov boarding a Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft for the flight back to their training base in Star City, Russia, outside of Moscow. Some 27 minutes from now, the command will be issued to open up the hooks holding the Soyuz MS-19 to the Rassvet module on the Earth-facing port of the Russian segment of the station. Under the manual control of Soyuz commander Anton Shkaplerov, the Soyuz will back away and conduct a 13-second burn of the Soyuz engines to reach a point about 70 meters away from the International Space Station. At that point, Shkaplerov will put the brakes on. Pyotr Dubroff will move from the center section of the Soyuz, called the descent module, up to the upper portion, called the orbital module, where, armed with digital cameras and a video camera, he will begin about 30 minutes of photography of the International Space Station. Shkaplerov will manually fly the Soyuz from that axis over to the Prishal module, the nearby port to which the Soyuz MS-21 is docked to. That's the new node module that arrived back in November, hooking up to the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module. And at a distance of 230 meters from the station, Dubroff will continue his photography and videography of the Russian segment of the station. Finally, at about 3:03 a.m. Central Time, Shkaplerov will conduct a phasing burn to move away from the station for good to a point about 32 kilometers away from the International Space Station for the deorbit burn that will take place at 5:34 a.m. Central Time, 6:34 a.m. Eastern Time. That deorbit burn will be 4 minutes, 39 seconds in duration, slowing the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second, enabling it to drop out of orbit for its high-speed entry back into the Earth's atmosphere. The pyrotechnic separation of the three sections of the Soyuz is scheduled just after 6 a.m. Central Time. That will precede entry interface as the Soyuz plunges back into the atmosphere, its heat shield repelling temperatures building up around the Soyuz of about 2,500 degrees. After they exit that regime, then the commands will be issued for parachute deployment at about 10.7 kilometers above the Earth. It will be in two portions. First, a drogue chute will be deployed, followed by a main parachute, and then just seconds before touchdown, soft landing engines will be fired in a braking maneuver, and the Soyuz will be home, Van der Heij and Dubroff returning to Earth after a year in space, Shkaplerov after 176 days. Here in Mission Control in Houston, the Orbit 1 team flight controllers on console at this hour. led by Flight Director Rick Henfling in the red tie. To his left is Flight Director Chloe Mering, and to Henfling's right is astronaut Tracy Caldwell Dyson, a veteran of both shuttle and Soyuz missions to the International Space Station. She has been talking to the rest of the station crew when required. The Expedition 66 increment will be history at the moment of undocking that is coming up about 25 minutes from now at 2:21 a.m. Central Time. At that point, Expedition 67 will formally begin under the command of NASA astronaut Tom Marshburn, who took over command of the station from Anton Shkaplerov in a change of command ceremony early Tuesday morning. Marshburn, along with NASA astronauts Raja Chari and Caleb Barron, European Space Agency astronaut Matthias Maurer, and Russian cosmonauts Oleg Artemyev, Denis Matveyev, and Sergei Korsakov will remain on board the station as a bevy of activity is about to unfold, including the arrival in early April of the first private astronaut mission, courtesy of Axiom Space. That's scheduled launch no earlier than April 6th on a SpaceX Crew Dragon vehicle from the Kennedy Space Center.
Astray, Moscow. Please proceed to your last flight check measurement.
Давление сейчас 810.
So the SR pressure is 810 millimeters. And what about BO?
At this hour, as the Soyuz MS-19 crew prepares for undocking with everything in order, they're suited up in the descent module. Anton Shkaplerov, the Soyuz commander, operating under the call sign of Astra. You'll hear that referred to in their translation from Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow. Shkaplerov in the center seat of the Soyuz, flanked to his left by board engineer number 1, Pyotr Dubrov, and to his right by NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei, who is serving tonight as board engineer number 2. The International Space Station is currently traveling at an altitude of some 260 statute miles above the Earth from northwest to southeast, traveling southwest of Mexico City in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. Now just 21 minutes prior to undocking.
Открыл КВД. САБО.
КВD PV valve for SRBO is open. Copy.
Last week, I had an opportunity to conduct an interview with Mark Vande Hei on board the International Space Station, in which he talked about this morning's undocking that will enable him to depart the place that has been his home now for almost a year, and the operations that will follow the separation of the Soyuz from the International Space Station. Mark, let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of landing day. Undocking in the Soyuz MS-19 for you and your crewmates will be a little bit different than we typically see. There's station keeping that will be built in to allow Pyotr Dubrov to capture photography and videography of the station before you depart for good. Can you discuss that aspect of your landing day and what's involved?
Sure. In fact, I suspect it will be very similar to what we did when the crew on my Soyuz was myself, Oleg Novitsky, and Pyotr Dubrov. When we did a fly around just to get to a new docking port, Pyotr in that situation also had to take photos. So I suspect what will happen is Pyotr will change his orientation as he gets out of his seat. So he's kind of laying across the commander's lap so that he has enough room to open the hatch. It's very, very tight in the descent module. All three of us were located. And then once he gets that hatch open, he'll just be able to kind of sit up and drift up into the habitation compartment. He'll spend some time up there because there's a window that will face towards the space station, and he'll take pictures from that module. Meanwhile, I'll be sitting and looking out the window over my right shoulder, trying to soak it all in. And Anton will be actively monitoring and flying the spacecraft. When Pyotr is done with his photos, he'll return, just doing everything I just described in reverse, and he'll be back to business as usual.
And so when you back away from the station for good, this place that has been your home for a year, what do you think will be going through your mind as you bid farewell to this huge complex that you've lived and worked in?
That's a tough one to answer. I'm sure I'll have lots of conflicting emotions. Enthusiasm for the opportunities back on the Earth to see my family, to be present physically with my wife, where I haven't seen her, I haven't been in her vicinity since January of last year. So that'll be wonderful. But at the same time, I'll also recognize that this will be the end of a phase of my life. I'm pretty confident that I will not be, in fact, I promised my wife I will not be flying to space again. So that will be bittersweet. I'm very, very grateful to have had this amazing opportunity to come up to the space station, to be up here with such wonderful people who I will consider friends for the rest of my life, to serve my country and all of humanity. So there will be gratitude for that, enthusiasm for the future, and a little bit of sadness too, because I'll be shutting the door on that. I won't be able to come back, and this is a very, very special place.
You can stow the MV for the Soyuz.
Mark Vande Hei last week waxing on his upcoming departure from the International Space Station. He and Dubrov launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on April 9th, 2021 on the Soyuz MS-18 spacecraft, along with Oleg Novitsky. Novitsky returned to Earth back in October of last year. Anton Shkaplerov launched to the International Space Station last October and is returning home as the Soyuz commander with Vande Hei and Dubrov this morning. We are 15 minutes away from the issuance of the command that will initiate the opening of the hooks holding the Soyuz to the Rassvet module of the International Space Station on the Earth-facing port of the Russian segment of the complex. That process will take about 90 seconds to complete. Springs on both sides of the docking interface will push off against one another to allow physical separation to occur. That's scheduled at 2:21 a.m. Central Time, 3:21 a.m. Eastern Time. At the landing site, the latest weather forecast issued by the Spaceflight Meteorology Group here at the Johnson Space Center calls for a few clouds with bases at 23,000 feet at the time of touchdown, about 2/8 total sky coverage, and temperatures about 45 degrees Fahrenheit to greet the three crew members upon their parachute-assisted touchdown.
Astray, how copy? in 160-164 is the amount in the spherical tanks 1 and 2 correspondingly, and propellant is 487. Okay, we copy.
Контролируем А6.
Please monitor A6 and A8.
А6 не горит.
A6 and A8 are not illuminated. Copy. And let's check the periscope. Central light filter is open. Curtain is also open. The screen set to infinity, and the indicator is 180, 0. Are you ready to send the G18 command? Yes. And please verify that the switching goes smoothly. I can't tell really. The LED Vizir Prichal is no longer illuminated. All right, translational and rotational hand controllers are in the operational position.
The translation you're hearing from the Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow as they talk to Anton Shkaplerov and Pyotr Dubrov about some of the processes for the still photography and the videography that Dubrov will be conducting from the orbital module, the top section of the three-section Soyuz vehicle, after undocking and after Shkaplerov manually flies the Soyuz back away from the station to an initial distance of 70 meters.
Thruster selection A11 and A13 are illuminated. Moscow. A11 and A13 are illuminated. So you have both manifolds selected, right? Select the first one, please. The first one? Yes, the first one. All right.
This view now from a balcony camera overlooking the Russian Mission Control Room for International Space Station operations outside of Moscow.
And G6 is no longer illuminated anymore either. I switched to TVS display and I'm activating closed transmitter. So, Pyotr, could you please confirm that Golf or G6 is no longer illuminated? It is not. Copy. And I'm sending command 17, display plus TV is on. Display plus TV has been sent, and I see the rendezvous and approach display. We are ready at 10:12:00. We are ready to send E2 accelerometer power command. Correct. Please issue E2 command. The command is ready.
The International Space Station soon will go into what's known as free drift, temporarily disabling the use of any thrusters so as not to perturbate the undocking process for the Soyuz MS-19 vehicle. We're 9 minutes away from the issuance of the command to begin opening up the hooks holding Soyuz to the Rassvet module.
Астрей, есть,
Astre.
есть разрешение на выдачу РДР.
We confirm
10-12-00.
you can issue
Приняли в 10:12:00 выдать РДР.
the RDR command at 10:12:00. All right, 1 minute.
Пять секунд.
5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Выдал И2 в 10-12:00.
E2 has been
Ноутбук КДУ.
issued. Accelerometer power is on.
Продукция 1:20.
KDU repress is on. Bdus is on, and I am turning on server 8.
Выдал со второго инпута.
From
Больше.
The International Space Station approaching the coast of Chile, again moving from northwest to southeast, soon to begin a swing across the South Atlantic on this orbit of the Earth.
Ожидаем.
We're standing by for
About 8 minutes away from entering an orbital sunrise just before undocking. Once again, just to review the timeline, undocking scheduled at 2:21 a.m. Central Time, 3:21 a.m. Eastern Time, about a minute after physical separation.
enable docking mechanism.
Anton Shkaplerov will conduct a backaway burn, about a 13-second burn of the Soyuz engines to initiate an opening rate that will take the Soyuz back to a distance of about 70 meters away from the Rosviet module before he begins a short period of station keeping to allow Pyotr Dubrov to move from the center section or descent module, which the crew is strapped into right now, to the upper section of the orbital module to begin photography and videography of the Russian segment of the International Space Station.
To the orbital module, the first images shots should be taken so that you can see the passive MRM-1 docking node.
Ну, постараюсь, но вопрос, может, переход...
I will do my best, but translating into the orbital module may take a little bit more time than planned due to all the stowed cargo items. Well, these are going to be like your first shots, but do your best to take images, to take pictures of the docking node at the distance of about 7-10 meters. I'll do my best. I copy what you want, and I'll do my best.
Все, договорились.
Agreed.
Six minutes away from physical separation, about 4.5 minutes until the undocking command is issued to begin a 90-second process of opening the hooks that have held the Soyuz MS-19 in place at the Rosviet module.
Today, departing.
Thank you very much.
NASA astronaut Kayla Barron with a traditional ringing of the ship's bell to acknowledge the fact that their colleagues, their crewmates, are about to depart the International Space Station.
Docking node in video mode. All right, I'll do my best.
Принято.
Copy.
МТС, ЦУП Москвы, канале С1 для Олега.
Moscow station, facing ground 1 for Oleg.
Guys, we still do not have attitude readiness, GSO flag.
Go ahead.
Should we continue?
Oleg,
For now,
we'll give you
continue.
a go to turn off the recording mode.
Step 8 of the radiogram, if you could. Copy.
This view now from an external cross-haired engineering camera on the Soyuz MS-19. You'll be seeing views of the International Space Station from this camera, and we are expecting views of the Soyuz departing the Rassvet module from truss cameras on the U.S. side through the Ku-band communications system. Less than 2.5 minutes away from the undocking command to be issued.
D1, and you haven't, so D2 at 16, and do you still not have attitude readiness? No, we don't. 10, 18, 30. In 90 seconds, we're going to be activating SSVP, docking and internal transfer system mode.
Секунд.
30 seconds. Astray. At 10, 18, 30, please activate the docking and internal transfer system and monitor that commands go through. Copy. We are standing by for 10 seconds.
1 minute away from the issuance of the undocking command. 2.5 minutes away from physical separation.
Mode, mechanical connection is illuminated. The 11, the 17, get 17 illuminated.
The International Space Station now in free drift.
Is illuminated. And I'm moving on to page 246. We're getting ready for the undocking.
The Soyuz docking mechanism now powered up.
We are ready for the undocking on your go. And at 10, 19, 30, we are ready to open the hooks. Astray. At 10, 19, 30, please.
Standing by for the issuance of the undocking command.
Copy. Correction. D, Delta 17. 10, 19, 30. Delta 17 command, hooks open, is sent. S13 is no longer illuminated. S11 is illuminated.
The command has been issued.
Okay.
Hooks are jiving.
Stand by till mechanical connection is no longer illuminated and verify that the SSVP internal docking and transfer system mode is complete, and get ready for the separation. And
About 1 minute until physical separation.
I will hand you over.
Entering an orbital sunrise over the South Atlantic.
Piotr, let me get it ready. Okay. Mechanical connection is no longer illuminated. Copy and stand by for the SSVP mode complete flag.
Undocking confirmed.
We confirm mechanical
At 2:21 a.m. Central Time, 3:21 a.m. Eastern Time over the South Atlantic, the Soyuz MS-19 begins the journey home to complete a year-long odyssey for Mark Vande Hei and Pyotr Dubrov.
Not being illuminated. Indicator mode is no longer illuminated. We confirm attitude readiness GSO illuminated. The flag is up. Great. And you're transitioning to the manual control then. Copy. This is Andrei Shalamov. Please proceed as concurred. Page 246. For page 246, right?
At the bottom of your view is the orbital module, in this case on the right side of the Soyuz as it backs away from the Rassvet module. That is where Pyotr Dubrov will be making his way to begin digital still photography and to capture video of the Russian segment of the station.
Okay.
The crew is currently in the center section of the Soyuz called the descent module, the only section that returns to Earth.
RODK digital control mode is on. We confirm RODK and we confirm translation hand controller. And do you want me to switch to the digital control mode display? Yes, please.
Anton Shkaplerov in manual control of the flying of the Soyuz.
And I confirm SVSK. Copy. And you can play with the HGC mode if you'd like.
Thrusters firing on the Soyuz vehicle as it continues to back away from the International Space Station. On the right side, one of the Ultraflex solar arrays on the Northrop Grumman Cygnus spacecraft.
Working with the HGC mode. Okay, now the video is much better.
Антон, может быть, на 2 маркера?
Maybe 2 marks, Anton? Okay, Pyotr is working with the HSC mode, and let's switch over. And I'm monitoring the process on the periscope, VSK. Okay, and let's try the Mark 3. No luck? No. There is nothing, there is no middle ground there. Okay, sounds good.
Антон, ну ладно, оставьте так.
Okay, Anton. Okay, let it be just like that. So the docking node is clean. There is no FOD. And we are 3 meters away from the docking node.
Принято.
Copy.
На расхождение выдавали за 13 секунд?
Have you sent the command for the separation? Not yet.
Ну, выравнивайтесь, выдавайте.
All right, well, stand by, and at 13 seconds, go ahead.
Выдал.
All right, the command has been sent.
Принято.
Copy.
The back-away burn in progress. This will put the Soyuz at a position about 70 meters from the International Space Station to allow Dubrov to move to the upper section of the orbital module to set up for photography and videography of the ISS.
The deviation should not be more than 10 degrees. It's 1 degree. It's about 2 squares currently. Anton, as you are departing, try playing with the AGC mode a little bit more to see if we can improve the image. Copy. Pyotr, let's put it in work. And in work. Can you leave it like this? 2 notches. Okay, let's leave it like this. Copy. We are approaching the docking node. We're about 1 square away. Copy. The size is 1 square. I am performing station keeping. Concur. All right. Station keeping for 14 seconds. Please monitor. All right. We are in station keeping mode. I am performing the roll maneuver. Copy.
The Soyuz has reached a station-keeping point about 70 meters, and you can see a roll program initiated under the manual control of Soyuz Commander Anton Shkaplerov. This will place the Soyuz at the right orientation so that the window in the orbital module, the upper section of the Soyuz, is properly aligned to enable Pyotr Dubrov to conduct digital still photography and videography of the Russian segment. This view now from the external engineering camera on the outside of the Soyuz.
Monitor the range while you are performing station keeping. It's a go to proceed. Copy in work. Okay, Pyotr, please start your activity. Taking pictures and video, and God bless you.
Pyotr Dubrov making his way from the left seat in the descent module of the Soyuz up to the orbital module to begin photography. A short time from now, Shkaplerov will maneuver the Soyuz manually from its current station-keeping position over to the axis that will look directly at the Prishal node module that is attached to the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module for additional photography and videography.
I am disconnecting. I am connecting electrical connectors here. To recap, the Soyuz MS-19 vehicle undocked from the Rosviet module of the International Space Station about 11 minutes ago at 2:21 a.m. Central Time, 3:21 a.m. Eastern Time, as the International Space Station flew 260 statute miles over the South Atlantic. The Soyuz backed away to a distance of about 70 meters away from the station, rotated to allow the proper orientation as Pyotr Dubrov makes his way to the upper section of the orbital module to begin several minutes of digital still photography and videography of the Russian segment of the station. We're about 10 minutes away from a separation burn that will take the Soyuz out to a distance of some 950 meters to enable it to start phasing away from the station. And shortly after 3 a.m. Central Time, the Soyuz will cross the radial vector, or the R-bar, the imaginary line drawn between the station and the center of the Earth, and the photography and videography exercise will be completed. Module to BO. Are you ready, Pyotr? Yes, the transition to BO has started.
МКС СУП Москвы в канале СГ-1 для Олега.
Station Moscow, Station Ground 1 for Oleg. Go ahead.
Олег, здесь Земля дает добро на
Олег.
МИМ-1 ТК.
Dubrov now in the orbital module.
Mark, can you see the periscope? You may put it in the closed position on the vehicle side. Will do. So the Pyotr has translated to BO. Well done, Pyotr. And now I will connect him to COM. Copy. Anton, could you please try to align the vehicle so that the docking interface is in the center? Okay, in work. All right, so I can hear you, I can copy you, so we have COM.
Так, а где твой шланг? Так, ну мне чтобы было достать, придется...
Be careful with the hose.
Вот поэтому не...
I will have to unbuckle here in order to get it, to retrieve it, so we did not think about it beforehand. You know, I actually can try to work without the fan, without the ventilation.
Хорошо, делай. Ой. Багажника против стыковочного узла.
Антон, пока облет не начинает.
Anton, please don't start fly around. You will start it on our...
A close-up view of the Soyuz MS-19, looking right at the docking mechanism that held the Soyuz in place to the Rassvet module of the International Space Station. Anton Shkaplerov, the Soyuz commander, in the center seat of the descent module, the center section of the three-section Soyuz vehicle, is awaiting the green light from Russian flight controllers to begin to translate or maneuver the Soyuz from its current position a few feet to the right, so that he's aligned with the Prishal node module for photography and videography by Pyotr Dubrov.
I started the video of the docking interface. Anton. Right, so let's start the movement towards the axis of the node and monitor the range, Anton. Could you please come again, Moscow? Didn't copy your last. So the range to MRM should correspond to 1 square. You know, it is a little bit more. Of course, the range is actually more. All right, so you can try now you can try the movement, but don't go too close. Copy. So I am taking photography of the Russian segment at the map.
You can see through the window on the orbital module, the upper section of the Soyuz, the movements of Pyotr Dubrov as he conducts photography and videography with thrusters firing as the Soyuz begins a lateral movement over to the axis of the Prishal module.
Reach the axis of the node module. Please perform alignment. Could you please come again? I didn't copy you last. On the completion of the fly around, so perform alignment and then pull the switch towards yourself. 30 seconds. Anton, right now, could you please do it right now? 30 seconds and toward yourself. Copy in work. 10 seconds. Perform alignment, Anton. 25 seconds.
Shkaplerov will maneuver the Soyuz, and the process of maneuvering the Soyuz to a distance of about 70 meters initially, ultimately 230 meters away from the Prishal module that arrived at the International Space Station last November, automatically docking to the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module that arrived at the complex last July. Prishal saw the first docking of a Soyuz vehicle to its port just 12 days ago when Oleg Artemyev, Denis Medvedev, and Sergei Korsakov arrived at the International Space Station on the Soyuz MS-21.
It's very close. So I can report that I have 2 squares on the display. Copy. Now please take as your orientation the big diameter of the SM service module.
Антон,
1 square and a half. Anton, perform station keeping right now. Copy. Station keeping in work.
жду доклада о зависании.
I'm standing by for your report that the station keeping is complete.
And the Soyuz now positioned 230 meters away from the Prashal module as Dubrov continues his photography and videography.
Now, Anton.
Значит, сейчас около 1.
About 1 square, maybe a little bit more, 1.2, 1.3. Did you copy, Moscow? Copy. It's about 140 meters. So the station keeping mode is executed. Copy. Astray, Moscow. Go ahead.
Выдавайте 17 секунд тумблер на себя.
So please perform switch, pull it to yourself, 17 seconds. Copy, in work.
Не надо.
Do you need a timer? No, I don't. Thank you.
Выдал 17 секунд на себя.
Okay. 17 seconds towards myself, and I continue fly around. Please monitor separation, orient service module, and please work on the RODECA display.
Надо перейти в ОДК.
Okay, so I will have to transition to RODECA, the manual mode in digital loop. Yes, that's correct. It's a go.
Штаб ОСК горит.
So the OSK is illuminated, deactivated. I am deactivating it, Moscow. I heard that, quite the opposite first. Copy.
Штаб ОСК включил.
Okay, so OSK is deactivated. Anton, could you please try to decrease lateral rates?
На узловой модуль.
And please
Уменьшалась в угловом размере.
try to perform it in such a way that the station decreases in rates.
We're in a short handover between satellites on our tracking and data relay satellite system. We'll regain communications and video from the station here shortly. To recap, the Soyuz MS-19 undocked from the International Space Station at 2:21 a.m. Central Time about 24 minutes ago, as NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei, joined by Soyuz commander Anton Shkaplerov and Roscosmos cosmonaut Pyotr Dubrov, departed the station. Vande Hei and Dubrov leaving the place that had been their home for 355 days since arriving last April 9th on their flight on the Soyuz MS-18 vehicle from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan.
Okay, so the route should be
In Kazakhstan,
position.
a Russian Antonov 26 aircraft with Rosaviatsia search and recovery personnel and NASA support personnel is airborne en route from the primary staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan, to the intermediary staging point of Zhezkazgan,
Yes, but it is
where the personnel will disembark from the Antonov and board Russian Mi-8 helicopters for a short 35-minute flight down to the landing zone, which is about 90 miles to the southeast of Zhezkazgan, awaiting the arrival of the MS-19 and its crewmates. The deorbit burn that will begin the trek out of orbit for Van der Heij, Dubrov, and Shkaplerov is scheduled at 5:34 a.m. Central Time, 6:34 a.m. Eastern Time. A 4-minute, 39-second retrograde firing, a deorbit burn that will slow the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second, allowing it to drop out of orbit for its entry back into the Earth's atmosphere.
moving strongly to the right. Yes, quite. But I'm using roar and turn it to the left, so I am holding it. And I'm looking at SM service module as a mark.
At the landing site in south-central Kazakhstan, the weather forecast is calling for a few clouds at 23,000 feet, about 2/8 sky coverage of clouds, temperatures in the mid-40s Fahrenheit that will greet the 3 crew members upon their return.
Crew should be in neutral.
After touchdown,
If the
personnel from RSC Energia and the search and recovery forces will quickly attend to the spacecraft, safing it,
in the direction
and beginning the process of extracting the crew members one by one, placing them in chairs right by the capsule to enable them to have a few minutes for a readaptation to a gravity environment for Van der Heij and Dubrov, the first time they will have felt gravity in 355 days. They will be carried in the respective chairs that they will be placed in to a nearby inflatable medical tent. They'll get out of their Sokol launch and entry suits, receive preliminary medical exams, get into flight suits, and board those Russian helicopters for a 2-hour flight back to the primary staging city of Karaganda. Van der Heij then will board a NASA jet for the trip back to Houston. Dubrov and Shkaplerov will board a Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft for a flight back to their training base at Star City, Russia, outside of Moscow.
don't work with RUD translational controller anymore. Do you have a sensation that the fly around is going on, is continuing? Yes, I have this sensation. The station is becoming smaller. You know, you should see the Earth on your VKO monitor on the left. Yes, I have it on VKO and on the other and on the VSK periscope as well. Then everything is good, Anton.
Okay,
so the node should be your mark, and monitor the fly around.
The fly around or the lateral translation of the Soyuz vehicle away from the International Space Station continues. Everything is in good shape. All reports are that the photography and videography is going well by Dubrov and the orbital module, the International Space Station flying from southwest to northeast across the Arabian Sea, approaching the west coast of India.
Антон, мы вот картинку наблюдаем сейчас.
Anton, Moscow, we are receiving the image, the video, and everything is good. Everything is nominal. Copy.
Станция в размере уменьшается.
The station is diminishing in size.
Да.
Yes, I confirm.
Принято.
Copy. So SM is occupies less than half a square. Copy, Anton. Sounds good.
Антон, ОДР.
Anton, ODR or disable of dynamic
11:03.
mode at 11:03. It is earlier than the scheduled time. Copy. I got it.
Петя, как там вид?
Petya, how is the view? The view is absolutely marvelous and fantastic.
You can hear the sound of the camera shutter clicking away as Pyotr Dubrov continues his photography for a few more minutes. The Soyuz executing a separation burn to begin phasing away from the International Space Station. That photography and videography will be complete a short time from now, at which point Dubrov will stow the cameras and return to the descent module, the center section, where he will strap into the left seat next to Shkaplerov for the remainder of the trip back to Earth.
You know, the camera does not manage to save all the shots, all the frames. The lighting is not very favorable. The Russian segment is a little bit obstructed by American segment. But wait, Piotr, maybe it will change and you will see it better. Copy. Okay, less than 7 minutes before the ODR disable of dynamic ops command. Copy. We confirm.
Just a few minutes left in the photography and videography exercise by cosmonaut Pyotr Dubrov aboard the Soyuz MS-19. We are just under 3 hours away from the deorbit burn that will begin the final leg of the trip home for Mark Vandehei, Dubrov, and Anton Shkaplerov. The deorbit burn scheduled at 5:34 a.m. Central Time, 6:34 a.m. Eastern Time, resulting in a landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan southeast of the town of Jezkazgan at 6:28 a.m. Central, 7:28 a.m. Eastern Time, 5:28 p.m. Kazakhstan time, 2 hours 20 minutes before sunset at the landing site.
Mark and you, how are you? Couldn't be better. I can say it's too comfortable. That's beautiful. We are flying over some continents and it looks beautiful, but the Russian segment is all in shadow.
Do we turn off the monitoring equipment? We have an activity coming up at 7:40. Stand by, Oleg. Let me find out for sure.
The station is flying over western China at this moment as we near the end of the photography and videography, with the Soyuz phasing away from the International Space Station.
Yes. Wow.
Wow. All right, we can
still have a video
see it. Every time you see it, it's so always like a surprise.
Олег, ты что-то сказал, да? Сейчас.
Oleg, did you say something?
Наблюдаем, Олег, пока.
I was thinking that we should just keep the recording going until we lose 65S out of the field of view. And it's kind of already intermittent, but I'll double check with the specialists if they want to keep it being recorded still until 65S is no longer visible. And also the specialists would like to get...
Well, this portion of the Soyuz departure from the International Space Station continues. The Antonov 26 aircraft carrying the search and recovery personnel and the NASA support team has arrived at the intermediary staging site in Zhezkazgan, where the personnel will be boarding Russian Mi-8 helicopters shortly to begin their flights down to the landing site to await the arrival of the Soyuz crew.
You see that you're almost zenith. Yes, we have 45 seconds left.
Да, подтверждаю.
Affirmative. All right, I am moving the Rus hand controller from the neutral position. It's in the neutral position, and I'm sending the ODR command. The command has been sent successfully. And checking KSP left, DUS. No, accelerometer not illuminated. KDO repressed is not illuminated. I am deactivating RODK digital control loop. RODK is off. I am deactivating the translational hand controller. Get 6, get 8. Translational hand controller is off. Dynamic mode inhibited is not illuminated. Copy. I have sent the command, and SSVP D8 is not illuminated. D11, D17 not illuminated. G17 not illuminated. S11. S11 is not illuminated. I am deactivating the floodlight. S18. It is off. It is off. Translational hand controller is in a transport position. Anton. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done. I'm saying my goodbyes, and I'll see you on the ground. Thank you, Andrei. Talk to you soon on the ground. Sounds good. Mark, could you please hold this, and I'll give you the gloves. Moscow, this is Astray 1. Go ahead. So I unstrapping myself to translate into the orbital module. Well, if that's convenient for you, yes, of course, and we have trained that maneuver. Copy.
The photography exercise now complete. Anton Shkaplerov is unbuckling himself from the center seat of the Soyuz to allow Pyotr Dubrov to return to the descent module and get back in the left seat of the Soyuz, after which Shkaplerov will return to the center seat as the Soyuz commander, Mark Vande Hei, in the right seat of the descent module. The Soyuz now phasing away from the station for the final time. Next stop, the deorbit burn that will be coming up at 5:34 a.m. Central Time.
I won't be able to talk for a little bit.
Марк, ответь Игнату. Астрей 3, как слышишь меня?
Astray 3. Mark, this is Ignat. How are you? I am great. Mark, could you please give me the countdown on the input panel? Input panel? 11. Hold on, I don't see it well. 8:53, that's what I think. 55, 8:55. Keep counting. Keep counting. One more time. 11:09. Mark, thank you. We synced the clocks. Thank you so much for your work. I was happy to assist. Mark, the guys are still moving and settling down. I'm in the descent module. I am removing the SD cards from the camera and wrapping up. Great, we'll be standing by. So how much time do we have to translate into the descent module? Don't linger too much. I mean, you have time, but you definitely want to be in the descent module by morning. Copy.
Once all the Soyuz crew members are strapped back in their seats in the descent module, they will close the hatch to the upper section of the orbital module that Dubrov was in to conduct his photography and videography of the Russian segment of the station and begin to depressurize the upper section. That's in advance of the module pyrotechnic separation that will occur following the deorbit burn prior to the time that the Soyuz begins its descent into the Earth's atmosphere.
We'll be monitoring it. And we have SD card, memory card number 350. .330. I do need to understand the scale, so to say. You need to go back to the descent module because there are still 2 procedures left. We need to verify that everything's fine with the suits and check SRBO hatch. Okay, I copy. I'm hanging up, so to say, and translating. Good. And we are standing by for your report regarding the Ziploc bag that you stowed it in container 350 and that you closed the SRBO hatch.
This is Mission Control Houston. The Soyuz MS-19 with NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei and Russian cosmonauts Anton Shkaplerov and Pyotr Dubrov aboard has made its way, phasing away from the International Space Station following its undocking from the Rosviet module of the station almost an hour ago at 2:21 a.m. Central Time, 3:21 a.m. Eastern Time. Shkaplerov manually flying the Soyuz to an initial distance of 70 meters away from the International Space Station allowed Pyotr Dubrov to make his way up into the upper section of the Soyuz called the orbital module to begin a stint of photography and videography of the Russian segment of the complex that ended just a short time ago. The 3 crew members back in their respective seats in the descent module or center section of the Soyuz as we approach the time about 2 hours and 20 minutes or so from now for the crucial deorbit burn of 4 minutes and 39 seconds that will send the Soyuz out of orbit back on a trajectory for a parachute-assisted landing on the steppe of south-central Kazakhstan at 6:28 a.m. Central Time, 7:28 a.m. Eastern Time. So that'll wrap up our undocking portion of our night's coverage of the return to Earth of Vande Hei, Dubrov, and Shkaplerov. We will be back on the air at 5:15 a.m. Central, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Time for deorbit burn and landing coverage as Vande Hei and Dubrov wrap up 355 days in space, Shkaplerov 176 days in space and aboard the International Space Station. We'll see you back in a couple of hours. In the meantime, this is Mission Control Houston.
And station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Dear friends, our expedition 66 talking with actress, director, with Japanese tourists, with our new crew and our Soyuz, and we had to progress docking, to Dragon docking, Cygnus docking, and unfortunately we had a couple emergency situation, but not real dangerous. It's like some satellites tried to kill us, but we worked together very hard, and we had the problems with fire or not ammonia. It's beautiful. And we worked very hard, like one crew, and we did not have problems. We continued, Russian cosmonaut continued to work with Yera. We hope Yera will wake up very soon. And we had EVAs, Russian and US segments. Approximately, no, all of us were outside. I'm very proud. I was a commander of this excellent crew, and ever people have problem on Earth, on orbit. We are like we are one crew. And I think ISS is like symbol of the friendship and cooperations, and like symbol of future of exploration of space. And thank you very much, my crewmates. We are like my space brothers and space sister. And now I have a special key of ISS. Tom, I know you. You are professional, and I know you will very professional commander of ISS. This is it's like key from Soyuz or another Russian hatches, but it's a like official key of ISS.
Give me command. And Anton, it's an honor and a privilege to accept command of the International Space Station and continuing the international partnership and that legacy in spaceflight. Want to thank you. You've been a wonderful commander. Really can't thank you enough for your dedication to the safety of the station, the safety of your crew, your humor, your friendship, your dedication to the flight control teams around the world. And Mark and Pyotr, there you are. Want to thank you, all three of you, for accepting all of us new crew on board. You've taken your vast amount of experience and applied a lot of patience and friendship and guidance to us to help make us successful in our first weeks here. And just want to say also that none of this would be possible without the brilliance, the foresight, and the vigilance of the ground flight control teams, our instructors, and of the scientists, for which we hope to continue to produce your dream of the fantastic data and the fantastic things we're finding out here on the space station. So, Anton, Mark, Pyotr, again, thank you so much. Of course, we wish you Miyaki Pasaki.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you, station. We are now resuming operational audio communication. And station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Dear friends, our Expedition 66 has very interesting story. We started approximately 5 months ago. We had 4 Soyuz docking with actress, director, with Japanese tourists, with our new crew and our Soyuz, and we had 2 Progress docking, 2 Dragon docking, Cygnus docking, and unfortunately we had a couple emergency situation, but not real dangerous. It's like some satellites tried to kill us, but we worked together very hard, and we had the problems with fire or not ammonia. It's beautiful. And we worked very hard, like one crew, and we did not have problems. We continued, Russian cosmonaut continued to work with Yera. We hope Yera will wake up very soon, and we had EVAs, Russian and US segments, approximately, no, all of us were outside. I'm very proud. I was a commander of this excellent crew, and ever people have problem on Earth, on orbit. We are like we are one crew, and I think ISS is like symbol of the friendship and cooperations, and like symbol of future of exploration of space. And thank you very much, my crewmates. We are like my space brothers and space sister. And now I have a special key of ISS. Tom, I know you. You are professional, and I know you will very professional commander of ISS. This is it's like key from Soyuz or another Russian hatches, but it's like official key of ISS.
Give me command. Yep. And Anton, it's an honor and a privilege to accept command of the International Space Station and continuing the international partnership and that legacy in spaceflight. I want to thank you. You've been a wonderful commander. Really can't thank you enough for your dedication to the safety of the station, the safety of your crew, your humor, your friendship, your dedication to the flight control teams around the world. And Mark and Pyotr, there you are. I want to thank you, all three of you, for accepting all of us new crew on board. You've taken your vast amount of experience and applied a lot of patience and friendship and guidance to us to help make us successful in our first weeks here. And just want to say also that none of this would be possible without the brilliance, the foresight, and the vigilance of the ground flight control teams, our instructors, and of the scientists, for which we hope to continue to produce your dream of the fantastic data and the fantastic things we're finding out here on the space station. So, Anton, Mark, Pyotr, again, thank you so much. Of course, we wish you Miyaki Posадки.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Station. We are now resuming operational audio communication. And Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Dear friends, our Expedition 66 has very interesting story. We started approximately 5 months ago. We had 4 Soyuz docking with actress, director, with Japanese tourists, with our new crew and our Soyuz, and we had 2 Progress docking, 2 Dragon docking, Cygnus docking, and unfortunately we had a couple emergency situation, but not real dangerous. It's like some satellites tried to kill us, but we worked together very hard, and we had the problems with fire or not ammonia. It's beautiful. And we worked very hard, like one crew, and we did not have problems. We continued, Russian cosmonaut continued to work with Yera. We hope Yera will wake up very soon. And we had EVAs, Russian and US segments. Approximately, no, all of us were outside. I'm very proud. I was a commander of this excellent crew, and ever people have problem on Earth, on orbit. We are like we are not like, we are one crew, and I think ISS is like symbol of the friendship and cooperations and like symbol of future of exploration of space. And thank you very much, my crewmates. We are like my space brothers and space sister. And now I have a special key of ISS. Tom, I know you. You are professional, and I know you will very professional commander of ISS. This is it's like key from Soyuz or another Russian hatches, but it's like official key of ISS.
Give me command.
Yep.
And Anton, it's an honor and a privilege to accept command of the International Space Station and continuing the international partnership and that legacy in spaceflight. Want to thank you. You've been a wonderful commander. Really can't thank you enough for your dedication to the safety of the station, the safety of your crew, your humor, your friendship, your dedication to the flight control teams around the world. And Mark, Pyotr, there you are. Want to thank you, all three of you, for accepting all of us new crew on board. You've taken your vast amount of experience and applied a lot of patience and friendship and guidance to us to help make us successful in our first weeks here. And just want to say also that none of this would be possible without the brilliance, the foresight, and the vigilance of the ground flight control teams, our instructors, and of the scientists, for which we hope to continue to produce your dream of the fantastic data and the fantastic things we're finding out here on the space station. So, Anton, Mark, Pyotr, again, thank you so much. Of course, we wish you Miyaki Pasaki.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Station. We are now resuming operational audio communication.